Improvements on the Common Grazing, Episode 1, How to Communicate the Proposal to Shareholders. It's important that clerks and committee members follow the proper procedure when dealing with common grazing funds, which belong to the shareholders. Here we explain the best way to ensure that the funding of an improvement on the common is carried out correctly. Firstly, what is meant by improvement? The term improvement on a common grazing means new or substantial upgrades to fixed equipment such as sheds, fanks, cattle handling systems, dippers, or fencing to create new hill parks. Whereas actions such as clearing out ditches or replacement of old fences would be termed maintenance. Here are some frequently asked questions. Must every shareholder contribute to the cost of improvements? Well, yes and no. Once the committee has decided on a proposal for an improvement, they need to decide who will contribute. For example, if the improvement is for a cattle handling system, perhaps shareholders without a cattle sooming will be excused. However, all shareholders with a cattle sooming might be asked to contribute their share of the cost. On the other hand, for example, fencing to create a new park will benefit every shareholder with a sooming, whether they currently keep stock or not, and therefore everyone should contribute to the cost. What about someone with a sublet? Do they contribute? Again, yes and no. A crofter with a sublet would normally contribute. However, if the committee feels it's unfair, for example, a contribution to a shed when the sublet has just 1 year to go, then the committee can decide not to ask for a contribution. It's really important to carry out the correct procedure to inform shareholders of contributions. And this is for the committee to issue a notice of improvement. The notice details the type of improvement and the contribution due from each shareholder. The notice has to be in writing and hand-delivered or sent by registered post. Can shareholders object? Yes, they can. The notice must state that shareholders can write to the Crofting Commission if they wish to object or make representation outlining why they do not agree with the proposal and detailing their concerns. An objector has 1 month from the date of the notice to make representation to the Commission regarding the proposal and/or the proposed allocation of expenses. What happens if the Commission decide that the shareholder doesn't have a valid objection? In this case, the shareholder will need to contribute towards the cost or risk losing their share. What would happen if the Crofting Commission decided the shareholder's objection was valid? In this case, the committee would need to decide whether to halt the project or take forward a reworked project without all the shareholders contributing. How is a fair share of cost calculated? So the allocation of the cost would normally be in proportion to the sooming held by each shareholder in the grazing. The sooming is best being shown as total sheep equivalents. These are used to convert the number of cattle or horses into sheep so that a fair calculation of everyone's share can be made. Details of shareholders and TSE numbers can be obtained from the Crofting Commission's Grazings team. If there's sufficient funding in the bank account, does the committee still need to send out a notice? Absolutely. Sometimes the Common Grazing will have sufficient funds in the bank to cover the cost, but as this money belongs to the shareholders, everyone needs to agree on the spend. So a notice is still required for every shareholder. What happens if there isn't enough of fund in the bank? By following the process to issue a notice, if the grazing account doesn't have sufficient funds, the committee can request that each shareholder provides their share of the cost. Hopefully that helps explain improvements, who contributes, and the process. The Farm Advisory Service has other videos in this series to explain how to complete the Notice of Improvement and how to work out contributions according to TSEs. Here are our top tips. Firstly, communicate the proposal to shareholders before starting on paperwork. Keep a record of dates and payments and income. Send a copy of the notice to the Commission so that if anybody objects, they understand what the objection is about. And remember that the Common Grazing may be eligible for CAGs at an 80% rate. To help clerks and committees work out the sums, a template for the calculation of TSEs and contributions is available from the FAS website, either as a printable form or as an Excel spreadsheet. Or call the FAS advice line for guidance. It's free.